Hello. Us here at Let's Get High and Read the Bible are appreciative of your continued listening. Leif interviews Ben Libay on the podcast today. Redding had a family emergency. If you have witnessed abuse of power, hypocritical actions, or astonishing biblical ignorance in the church, then you've come to the right place. These two stoners can't shut the fuck up about it. We know the opinions represented on the show are not reflective of every God-fearing church in America. And that's too bad, because if they were, then church would be a pretty cool place to go.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm already stoned, so my eyes are squinty. I'm trying to open them up.
Yeah, I told myself I wouldn't, but I already kind of partook a little earlier.
Oh my God! Really? You smoke weed?
Yeah,
I didn't know this.
I mean, not for recreational purposes.
For like
other than this right now, so
like anxiety and shit. You mean?
Yeah. No, more stress as well as as I like to state it. It's not to help me fall asleep, but it's help me stay asleep. I have no problem falling asleep, but I definitely
so feeling all the feelings at once is it's just hard.
No, well, yeah, I need to narrow things down. There's a lot of extra stress and things outside, so it's just when I it's not like I wake up screaming or anything like that. It's just periodically through the night I just randomly toss and turn a lot. Got a lot of back and neck pains, things like that, getting old, whatever. So a lot of that is
stay asleep through the night. I was all thinking I took it so differently. I'm sorry, I was all concerned about you and shit.
No. I just never want to wake up.
Right. Yeah. It's like, how emo are you now, Ben?
Well, the older I get, the darker I get. I don't know.
They've always been dark.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
People listening don't know. So
I know. Yeah. Right.
I should say this is my buddy Ben Libay. He's a drummer extraordinaire, producer extraordinaire, songwriter extraordinaire. It's weird that it's always drummers for me, but Redding was supposed to. All my friends are drummers. All you guys. I still Burke, Jeff Gall, you, Ducey. Like drummers are really important to become friends with. They're the most important member of the band. So anyway, Redding couldn't be here. He had a family emergency, and we're not going to make this a normal thing, but we didn't have a podcast for this week, so Ben and I are just going to wing it.
Yeah, I feel like that's how most podcasts go, but the beauty of that is the off-the-cuff interview and/or debate talk, whatever it is, because this is real, and that's what I think is what's cool about stuff like this and having the opportunity for it. Yeah. That's
well, I think he wanted to talk to you too. Is mostly the thing, but it's we toured together in bands forever, and recorded a bunch.
Yeah,
we have some crazy tour stories. Actually, I woke up in a gutter on one of those tours at South by Southwest that year. Remember that?
No, I do remember. I don't remember that. I don't, but I do remember
after the Blender party.
That, yeah.
The what thing? Sorry, I interrupted.
South by, having to carry our gear quite a ways just to play upstairs in some kind of weird for like in the middle of the day. By the way,
that was for that movie that was with the lashes.
Yeah. Oh, that's a story in itself. Actually, just. Watching them play because I remember
my favorite shows.
I just remember. So much fun. I remember Ben Lash's. I had a beer in my hand, bottle beer, and he was getting everybody to go like a little
stuff
down, whatever, and started ducking everybody down, and he was right in front of me, and I kind of snuck closer, and I took my beer and was like trying to put it in his mouth. And he was letting me for a moment, but then he just kind of like, I swear I was like this close to his face. and then it almost like finally registered, oh, I'm this close to his face. And he grabs it out of my hand and just throws it across the room.
Breaks it on the wall.
Oh,
It
yeah.
fell down in the stairwell to the
Yeah,
restaurant
yeah.
down below.
And the whole time I'm just kind of like, okay, I'll just shimmy my way back from that.
Yeah, see, so Ben and I have memories together, but we have kind of similar stories because you grew up religious as well. Right?
I did. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Look, yours and my upbringings are similar yet very different. You know,
Yeah.
I think I honestly would have ended up exactly in the same kind of process through the homeschool vein if I stayed in homeschooling.
Okay.
I ended up going to a Christian school, and
What years were you homeschooled?
just like early elementary, like all the way up to like second grade. Nothing.
Yeah.
It was like it was the same kind of vibe, like a small knit kind of community.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, I mean, through the church always, you know. And then until like my parents felt like I was ready to go to school. I guess I don't know. I have very weird memories from those days because I nothing bad, nothing crazy, but I mean, weird me. I mean, weird meaning I like. The only things I remember from homeschooling days was going to the hospital a lot.
Were you sick as a kid?
Yeah, I just broke this, fell on that. You know that. That's
Yeah, you're a good time.
Yeah, no, well, stuff would happen.
I've seen you drunk around a bonfire. So.
Yeah, trying to not play Oasis.
So these memories, though, Christian school and whatnot.
Christian school, man. I feel okay. The fun times about Christian schools was it's in comparison to public schools, which I know you have not been to a public school, but at least
I have now because my kids go.
exactly. So that's how I'm retelling it too. Like I'm understanding through their life how that is, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's only my wife can relate, you know, and because I can't, because the stuff that they go to with classes and especially nowadays with the way schools are, because I don't even think maybe schools have changed. I think it's just everything's been more laxed with how you know people dress, what they say, what they're doing, you know, because in my school,
reference, right?
Yeah, because I'm just talking in public schools or in school in general, because for me, going to Christian schools, I went from literally second grade to graduation. It was like an all-encompassing kind of elementary school and junior high and high school all in this complex called Calvary Costa Mesa.
Oh, yeah.
So,
but isn't Calvary Costa Mesa cool? Like...
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like because I know I'm
very sheltered backgrounds. Yes, but
really? Okay. See, when I mean cool, I thought they like listened to cool music and like went on dates and like.
Oh, it's honestly no different than what I think you even touched on musically with the Christian kids up here, and I live in Washington now, so it's like how every church. Their favorite bands are Radiohead and Jack Johnson, U2.
Jack Johnson seems to have customized.
Yeah. For some reason, that's okay in the Christian world. Oh, and John Mayer up here, but you know.
Yeah. Well, that's because there's a lot of closeted homosexuals in the Christian community.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love John Mayer, not his music.
Yeah, this is
him as a human.
Bands,
yeah, him as a human. But like, all my friends, when they like freak out on him, I'm like, do you like John Mayer or do you just like staring at John Mayer?
Yeah. I would say a little of both. You know, I don't know. Anyway, just as far as like the Christian school thing, like that. It's weird because for me growing up with that's what I thought was normal. Like I've been at least from when you started this podcast, I've been listening pretty much since the beginning. So
Oh wow.
yeah, long time listener, first time. So, but I remember you.
I'd have to apologize.
No,
Yes, the first ones were pretty rough. I'm sorry. It's hard to be this high and keep a straight conversation. So
I believe it. Yeah.
we're getting better.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. All I can say is that I remember you were mentioning that, which I relate a lot to a lot of the talk that you have with Jeff, and which I also appreciate, which is why I got so like interested to want to do this too. Is just because I love talking about this stuff, because this was a huge part of my life, probably the biggest part of my life. Because
Christianity.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in the church, I'll say it as that, because I know there's so much there you can talk about. We can go off of. But when you mentioned how like you got used to a lifestyle that was, your upbringing and everything, and you just thought that's the way things were, because you're not. It's like an Amish lifestyle. You're not really
exposed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the thing is where we are similar, that I recognize that, but we were different. That I was subtly exposed to that, because in parts of my life, it would just be family. Like I had a big family, like my cousins and everything like that. They were definitely not of the Christian lifestyle. Not to say they weren't religious.
So they were cool.
Catholic.
You had cool cousins.
Yeah, so they had everything that I was like, why don't we have this stuff?
Like Hot Topic and like Korn.
yeah.
Like they listened to Limp Bizkit and you guys.
Yeah, right.
Was it like that, or was it like cool clothes and?
It was more of like watching rated R movies.
Yeah, totally, right?
To secular music.
Yeah, secular music was a big. You can listen to secular music.
I know. Yeah, it was a lot of hip hop and stuff in those days. Like my sisters were always listening to what's top 40 in the current time. Sure. And because of that, I was like really curious, but this is all edited music and I'm not paying attention to lyrics. I'm just like, no, let's dance, And so we get into that. And it was just weird to, oh, wait, that's what they're talking about? That's what they're saying? This is what's happening? And there's a lot of that. And
was that your first exposure to like non-Christian ideas, was through music?
I would say yes, but I feel like it's just, I think it's because, I'll put it this way. This is why I like talking about this stuff, because it's the inconsistencies, it's the discrepancies and the gray areas, if you will, with
theology or the Bible.
Let's just say all Christianity.
Okay.
Christianity in general. And I know this is yes, and I know this is a let's get high and read the Bible thing.
We'll get there.
But that's the thing, is the Bible is the Christian's training book on how to be a better Christian person and how to make it into heaven. So it's like
profitable for righteousness,
right? So
retribution.
So by that, we're all trying to like live our lives through churches and what they are teaching us as how to live, and that's by a particular person, a pastor or a preacher, who is the one who's supposed to take that book and go, okay, this is what you're supposed to do, and then we're gonna go, okay, and then we do that, and it's hard because it's now, watered. I say this and it may almost sound insulting, but watered down to the point it gets to our ears, because here we are living in this world where I was raised, smoking's bad, drinking's bad, drugs, everything's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I meet other Christians in other really big churches, nice places, nice people who drink whiskey all the time. They smoke, they
curse,
they swear, and it's like
they have anal sex before marriage.
Well, yeah, because it's not cheating or whatever.
Yeah, because you're not fornicating.
Yeah. So that's,
yeah. So you meet them, it blows your mind.
Well, no, it's not even meeting them. See, those kinds of people always existed, and I was sheltered from it all. And it was because of my sisters.
Can I stop you real quick? How long were you a churchgoer? How long did you go to church?
Since as far back as I can remember.
And so when you met all these people, what age do you think you were when you started meeting
when I actually was paying attention? I will say in my my high school days. because see all these. See, you just got to say a few things, and it triggers something, and it comes back, man.
We're working through religious trauma.
No. Well, okay, that's
maybe. I think so.
Oh, you're right.
No,
right.
yeah.
It's just
but point being, keep going. So it's like
I'll just say that real quick. I'll just say that real quick. Trauma is a harsh word. It's like hate. Where it's like I'm not traumatized as maybe I'm lying to myself, which
because here's the deal. I'm not to cut you off, but here's the deal.
Right.
It seems like this story is, and because I guess we're buddies, so I know you too well, so I know where it ends, right? But like, if you as a young kid had belief, you thought there was a God, and you thought you had found people that were directing you to finding out more and more about him. And as you get older, you realize those people came in and stole that from you. They put up weird false boundaries. They put up weird false dogmas, and that's kind of where I think I might have taken the conversation away from when I distracted you a second ago. So that's where I want to go back to, because this is fascinating to me, because you and I, even though we know each other for a long time,
we never had those deep conversations. No. We were just kind of like, oh, we're on the same team, high five. Okay, anyway.
See, we were fucking, we were making $0 touring all the time. Yeah. I think I made $8,000 that year.
Oh, what?
That what? It's like 2011 or something, or
I don't even.
6. I don't
know. 11. What? No, this was,
it was way later.
6 is when we started on that road and was in first record and was doing that.
But so this wonder and this thing, like when you met these other Christians, did it like the cool Christians? Did it like put like a splinter in your logic? Did it like crack a foundation of something, would you say, or did it more open you up to like a new way of thinking?
It did. It opened things for me to choose, I guess. I think it's because I know the difference between you and I with that observation, or especially that like glorious moment of, oh, there's so much more out there kind of thing. I kind of always figured there was. I had 2 older siblings, and they were definitely the rebellious ones originally. So for me, it was like I learned from their mistakes in the start. And that's why I always thought twice about everything. So every time with these new Christians, if you will.
Are you the baby then?
I am, yeah.
Oh. That's why you have such good skin.
Probably, yeah. And I still, anyway. No, and where I'm getting at with this is when I started meeting people, I was that were doing things that I was in a sense raised that they shouldn't be, like drinking, smoking, doing whatever, cursing, whatever, but they still claim to be Christians and all this. It was very confusing because I knew it was either black or white. You either were this person,
Amen, brother,
or you weren't that person.
Amen.
Right. Well, because I was raised that way, but I was raised with expectations that you can actually do that, and it's like the truth.
You can.
Well, you can, but I mean,
you're gonna have some mental problems later on.
Yeah, it's called repress
everything.
Yeah, because you can't just bottle not to say
biology.
You shouldn't act upon tendencies like into any extreme, but you should definitely acknowledge the fact that those tendencies, those feelings are there, because if you just pretend they're not, it becomes detrimental over time.
You talk about
everything, man, like everything, whether anything from anything, like what's considered
about
Bible, like impure thoughts and this, that. It's like,
ooh, I like it. Keep going.
You know what I mean? Like,
what
we need to do is just have those conversations. And that was a huge thing that upset me, is I feel like I could not talk to people about this, because then I would be shunned upon. And it wasn't until my later years, when I moved out here as an adult, talking to other churches and other Christians, where I was kind of getting brushed off because I was too, I asked too many questions. Like I was, as if this is what I'm into. Oh, how can you be into that? Like, what are you doing?
Did you ever ask
anything wrong?
Did you ever ask any of your pastors about masturbation?
No, because I was too uncomfortable, right?
Man, I totally did.
And I couldn't because it was such a taboo thing
Oh
that
man, you missed some pretty interesting conversations then, because their
Yeah.
answers are fucking awful. Because
Yeah,
I've asked more than one.
yeah, I wanted to. I definitely wanted to know more because it's like, what do you do with this kind of vibe, this feeling? You can't repress this for too long because
Yeah, you can. Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, you'll end up like, being that pastor that's caught doing the weird foot thing at a stop bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's good. I mean, it happens continually and throughout history forever. And it is strange too, because like you said, I was never ever told a single thing about sex.
Me neither.
Once in my life, I found a porno in my dad's boot once, and that's how I learned. But
Wait, his boot?
Yeah, God, I'm just outed my pops. He's the coolest. Sorry, Dad. Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to envision how this was in a boot.
Well, you remember?
Like a video, or
You saw the house? Did you ever see when the house? I met you when the house was done on Dory Dawn, right? Did you ever see? Because you never saw the gross house.
I don't. No.
Yeah. I mean, it was never finished. Fully,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's not many places in a house that's literally legally condemnable, which is the one I grew up in. To hide shit because there's like.
I do remember that house. Yeah,
it was gross. Yeah, and so yeah, I would. Oh, what do you do when you're homeschooled? You're home all fucking day, right? So I crawl through every inch of the house,
Yeah,
and like,
I can only imagine.
Right, yeah. But so, this sexuality is put at an arm's length and is essentially not even talked about, right? So, meanwhile, like, I'm sorry, I'm derailing my own thought, but I've always wondered at any given moment, at any congregation on Sunday morning, okay, anywhere in America, how many people's phones' private browsers have like more than 5 tabs of porn open? Do you think at any given Sunday service in America?
I choose not to think about that.
And I guarantee you that's all that stepsister shit. I have no idea why that stepfamily stuff is so big. That's so weird. Why is that? That's so weird.
I think it's worse that I know what you're talking about, but yeah.
Everyone likes porn, man.
Yeah. It's like David Lee Roth said, everybody wants some.
We're pouring one out for Redding. That Van Halen references for you, buddy. We miss you.
Oh, I had many planned. Like his stage raps are undeniably some of the best you will.
What, Redding?
No, well, probably.
Oh no, you're talking about Mr. Diamond Dave.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it too much. I want to keep it on the Christianity shit.
Oh yeah. I mean, only one person can say I am the Niagara of Viagra. So I wish I could.
This is entrapment.
Cool as that.
You're Catherine Zeta-Jones right now. Quit. You're entrapping. Don't do it. You'll give me. I will be on a rant for 40 minutes. You know this.
I know.
I read this Van Halen encyclopedia in front of you.
Every day was eruption.
Yeah, remember that day I played it 100 times in a row?
Every single fucking day.
Well, it's hard to play now.
Gotta stretch out these new strings.
Yeah. Look at me.
All it took. I'll just end it.
I'm gonna have to edit this out. It's bad talk. You're in the middle of Bible talk. Okay.
All it took was anybody else, or even the subtle sound of Van Halen playing that you went, oh yeah. Every time.
That's how I taught myself to play.
I loved it.
Learning all those records and Slash.
Anyway, Bible. Yeah,
Bible. Yeah. So,
no, I know it's. I think the thing that we also gravitate to now, you and I, is that I'm not going to talk for you. I'll just say it. Like I don't like the fact of outing anyone, anything, and just bringing people's shit to the surface. I like to just acknowledge that we all have problems, and then let's treat that.
You don't like talking shit?
Oh, I
love
trying to say. it, but I don't like doing it to cause drama. I like to do it just to be funny.
You think some of the things you're saying are dramatic? Excuse me.
These days, yeah, I think.
About religion? I don't think so, man.
Okay.
No, because here's the cool part about fundamentalist circles, Baptists. Obviously, I'm familiar with, or any of these churches you see, like Point View, Johnson Avenue, Reformed, all of those are rebranded fundamentalists. Those are like, and I kind of respect the idea behind it. I think it's really great. If you believe this is the word of God, why should you live any differently? Like, you should be trying to follow it. You should be reading it all the time. You should be gathering together. 100%. You should be helping. Yeah, but the problem, it seems, is that most of the theological statements of these organizations are flawed. Specifically, the inerrancy of the Bible. And, I keep trying to engage people with it. So, because it was taught to me that the Bible in all forms throughout all time has zero errors.
Zero flaws, zero errors.
Zero spelling, zero contextual.
That too, yeah.
Right. It's one of the tenets. I mean, you can go on any church's website right now in America, and it will be right there. And it's,
pause you with that, and I just want to add to that, saying that as far as debate class or as far as any kind of teaching or schooling goes, that is a grade A tactic to win arguments or to win. And it's just that blatant, like 100% absolutism, it to just go off and just say, this is 100% perfect. What you got? Nothing. All right, goodbye. And it's
and it's horrible.
Semi-narcissistic kind of behavior. It's kind of scary.
Well, through their actions, regardless of what they believe about this book, you can tell all it is that they just want to be right. And so they take the Bible out of context, focus on the bad shit about it, and we still have the widowed not being helped, and the fatherless not being helped, and the hungry not being fed, and we call ourselves a Christian nation. Here we are, founded upon the word of God, and it's like homelessness is through the roof. It's like,
it's the money that always gets me too. It's like I just don't get it how the people that can make them steer the ship in this country or anything. I'm not going to get political, but I will say that is blatantly used their religion as a way to win a vote or to sway any opinion.
That's what it is now. You even see there's even movies made.
Divide, man, it's such a huge divide. And speaking on movie, which I always recommend you can take this for however it is, but what I loved about the movie The Book of Eli, have you seen that?
Yeah, it's badass.
I know, right. Yeah, it's great. Whooping ass and all that. I love post-apocalypse.
Stole the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. But here's the thing that I found extraordinarily scary, but yet very important to take from that movie is not about this good and evil battle, but it's literally like where Gary Oldman, again, like greatest actor of all time. Yeah, and
fucking God.
He's the bad guy in this movie, and not to spoil it, but I mean, this is a great, or at least I think
old as fuck, man.
Like whatever. This is my favorite thing about that whole movie is that he states, because the whole point is trying to get this Bible from Denzel Washington's character, and he says it's not just a book; it's a weapon.
Yeah,
right.
That's fucking badass.
You know what I mean?
But unfortunately,
but it's true, and it shouldn't be against us. It shouldn't be true on our end or any other side that is either against Christianity or on the fence, like I was for so long. It should be just noted, like you can take anything.
I'm not against Christianity.
I'm not saying you are. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I didn't come off as that. I just meant in general how people can look at it like that, but because I don't want to come off negative or
no, I'm not against Christianity, but I hate Christians.
Exactly. Okay, great point. I love that. But it can be something that can be weaponized, which is it is scary, and I think should be acknowledged on on either side of the cloth that you're cut from. Whether if you're for Christianity or against it, you should look at that and understand that is a serious thing, because anybody can take anything and get all their agendas done in a bad way. And
it's like a but see, this is what we're doing now, and it's really dumb that in such a like, how stupid is this that we just get smoke weed and talk about shit, and maybe this actually helps,
man. It helps.
No, it's no. See, that's so human beings are all coming together in this new way, and we find out that like, oh man, we have so many copies of the New Testament from long ago, and now, but they're not. What?
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I had to jump in before I forget this. Did you ever read the Hawaiian Bible I told you about?
Oh no! I read a very small amount, but to add
to that, what you're saying, there's so many texts, so many different interpretations.
Well, when we started this fucking podcast, I went like deep for about 2 years. I had to fill in all the times and dates because I'm not like a scholar. I just read the Bible every day.
And I think that's what we should also strive to be, is not scholars. We should just strive to be normal.
I love scholars.
But those people exist.
I love them, and we need them desperately.
But what I mean by that is us regular normies that aren't as smart. We should just strive to be at where your level is of knowledge of the Bible, even regardless of where you sit with it, because you should know what you're interested in.
That's you and me and our trauma. So I don't think everyone needs it. To be honest, there's certain portions of it, right? There's certain portions that, like, I do like pretty much
talk about it. That's all I say.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I do, but like, I just wanted to get that out there because there's. Blessed is he, or there's like stuff about dashing babies against rocks. There's like God, Yahweh in the Old Testament.
Don't pay attention to that part,
right? And I don't think you have to. I think you should. I think there's amazing moral stories you can extract out of these, and I think there's a beautiful window to what people used to think from the past, and I think it's deeply important. Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, through all of our those of us that have had, bad reactions to church. Like, I've been a worship pastor. I've been a youth leader. I worked at a Christian camp. I've been a missionary.
Yeah.
And when you see the different,
I never pastored though.
No, because they're in the Bible, it says you're basically,
I can't
you get, God, fuck you. That's amazing.
Sorry, go on. You were saying?
No, that's great.
What? No.
Well, you get double judged, as the Bible says. It's like you,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But but now to realize where I was going with this way earlier with our fucking crazy stoned conversation here.
This is
doing it's fun. Doing all that work was finding out that like the Epic of Gilgamesh has the exact same flood narrative. And existed way before Noah's story. Like literally everything, but like the god and a sacrifice. There's like there's not very many things different, and it's like
there's a lot of similarities in other theologies, like Greek and Roman gods, and especially Egyptian.
I don't know much, but they fascinate me. But like the problem is like all these Christians behind their dogmas, behind their pulpits on their Sunday morning, picking whatever portion of this Bible they want to like.
Yeah,
rant about. It's unfortunate that they do deal in absolutes and they do think that they know. It's like really okay, especially it's always funny to me because I come from a small town and I'm like, so like in the 2,000 plus years this text has been around. The smallest church from the smallest town is the one that got it right, and they're interpreting it correctly. They don't even drive to the major city. It's like they don't even hear anyone else's opinion.
Yeah,
don't even and for me it's like it's sad because at one point you turn this age where you can't turn back because your whole life has been spent, especially itinerant people like pastors.
But see, even now for me, sorry to cut you there, but even now for me, it's like I still appreciate those small to big places that like are so on fire and gun ho and still because I'm like,
Yeah, see,
you
that's
should be
cool.
allowed to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are really good churches.
As long as you don't pick up a rifle and start gunning up a nightclub because you just feel like you're doing the Lord's work or something like that, you know.
Dude, I gotta tell you this. So no, you're perfect. This one
You know what I mean?
Rockaroka story. So this one time when I was doing Rockaroka at the beginning with Squires and Reading. For those who don't know, Rockaroka is this live karaoke band. So in order to be in the band, you have to learn 1,000 songs. Very often we had these things where we'd have like a gig on Tuesday night, then we'd have to fly out Wednesday to play a gig Thursday in like Florida. You know, so it's like, and then you got to fly back to play a gig Friday. It's like, it was always these ridiculous schedules. It paid well though. And so sometimes the flights were so early. It's like, why the fuck would you go to bed? It's like, we got to be at the airport at 4. We just got done at 1:30. You know, so you just get somewhere safe and drink like 50 beers, you know, before you get on a plane. Right. Yeah. And so like, it's one of these events. We were going to Georgia, and Waffle House right across the street. I'm like, I still had blonde hair, like really skinny, you know, and coming out of the Waffle House because I've been up all night drinking, and I'm seeing all these like limousines pull up to the hotel we're in, and like
I was gonna say Waffle House. They put all these limos pull up the
no, I love Waffle House.
I would have been a scene. I would have loved to have a photo. Anyway.
Oh man, so they all have like zoot suits on.
Okay.
And they all have like these huge hats, and they all have like these like crazy outfits, and it was a church. And they were having they were having Sunday service or whatever. It was. I feel like it was midweek.
Well, I mean, that's what you do. But, you go there in a limo and with a zoot suit.
Dude, so I go in. I look like Jesus. I'm obviously the only white colored.
Right.
There's There's like this 11-year-old fat kid just fucking shredding on the drums, and they're like moving on up, and they were like all dancing. And they were all worshiping Jesus. And I like danced with this 90-year-old woman named Georgia for a long time. And we were talking about the love of the Lord. You know, they could probably smell. It's like 10 o'clock the next morning. I'm still drunk, you know. But it was a beautiful experience. And that's, yeah. Or like, you know, a better example is like Gio.
I know. No. Mutual friend. We both love him.
Well, maybe one of the only real Christians.
I was just about to say that.
Like maybe there's like maybe 4 Christians I've ever met, and he's one.
That definitely puts him on a pedestal in some form, or at least paints a target.
Yeah, he gets bummed. He gets bummed because he's super humble, so he gets mad. Yeah. But like, it's true. He just keeps giving to people and helping people.
But I had probably the most honest conversation with that man. That makes me appreciate him more. Like. Yeah. Well, and look, this is what another thing that I get frustrated with is if you're led to lead a church, if you feel like you have to run the show or something like that, never forget why you're doing it. And that seems like a terrible thing to say, but it's the truth because I've had, and I'm not going to name names or whatever, but at the turning point in my life was when I was struggling the hardest about, you know, just.
I'm sorry, I'm a little lost. What was the turning point in your life? Like what age?
About a couple years ago, maybe a few years.
Damn.
Very recent, I'll say. Well,
okay. Were you still going to church?
Yes. So here's the thing. I'm gonna say 4 years. 4 years ago. Say 4 years ago, maybe 5. From that point till now was just this long-winded struggle. But what I'm getting at is this: I was in a church, in and out of it, just kind of trying to figure out where I fit in. And that's the thing when you are a person who feels led to do anything. You ask God, like, where do I belong? And then in the common stuff we would always hear if you were a part of any church, even in the small sects of the church, whether you're just a maintenance guy or you're a worship leader, it's like you always start in some position where you say, hey, I play or I do this, you know, where can I be helpful in this church? And then they get free labor out of you and do wherever they need you.
Being a servant for Christ, brother.
Yeah, it's
What do you-
tough gig when you don't pay taxes for this. But anyway, so I'm a musician, and I'm like, look, I can play this, this, and this. If you guys are needing help, fit me in where you need me. I just want to help.
And this is still recently you're speaking of?
This
like
was, well,
3
like
years ago?
Oh, this started years, like 10 years ago or longer.
Okay. That's right. Keep going.
I was going to New Life Church up here in Washington.
It's a new life.
Yeah, and it's I believe it's a Foursquare church.
Okay. Do they speak in tongues?
Yeah, not yet, but
they?
if they did, it would be in a private, one of their many private rooms. So anyway,
Interesting. They have champagne rooms at the New Life Church.
Probably.
This sounds.
This was my first.
It sounds cool.
It's not a mega church, but it is. When you walk into there, you're like, wow, this place has lots of money. And because a stage,
that place then.
Yeah, a stage, a lighting show, like sound system that only even the finest concert would be jealous, or like concert hall would be jealous of. So it's just like it's very encouraging for a young mind like myself, who's a musician who wants to be a part of it. It's a rock show every day, when we're playing worship music. So throughout all this, I got into that, but then I was feeling kind of being pushed out, only because, aside from what about me, it's just like, I come from a punk rock, whatever lifestyle kind of thing where
you got tattoos.
And I make fun of people. I just kind of, I say shit a lot, just because these are the kind of people we surround ourselves with,
Yeah. Degenerates.
And so it's like, okay, I'm trying to rap with these people and just, dab them in the elbows a little bit, and they're just looking at me like, ugh. So where I got to my turning point, which actually to finish my original point, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Why we love Gio so much is I had conversations with him about people we mutually know, and I was telling him, like, look, man, this is what bothers me in the church, and it's really because they constantly repeat what they preach to bring and spread that word, if you will, like to bring people in. But for people like myself, who is still kind of like walking in, even though I've been there for a few years, I've committed like a lot of time into it. I was struggling, and I would open up like, hey man, I'm having issues. And the response I got was from a lot of these leaders there who were my age or younger.
Mm-hmm.
These were like up and coming people, and they were super high on Jesus. And then they would tell me, you'd probably do better in a smaller church somewhere else, I was getting that, and I'm like, isn't this like the core, one of the core values?
Yeah, good job, servant of Christ.
Yeah, right.
Good
Bring
job.
people in. And Gio and I had a mutual acquaintance who was an up and coming pastor at the time, who was starting a new church, who was leading at the church that we were going to, or we knew about, or mutually knew about. And he asked him, hey, just, because I know you deal with a lot of homeless people, Gio, because Gio does exactly when I unironically say this, he does the Lord's work.
All the time. Always
yeah.
has.
And so this guy asked him this because he helps out the homeless, and he provides homes for a lot of people like that, and the congregation he works with and all that stuff. So another pastor person was asking him the question, how do you deal with your homeless problem? And he's like, well, first, I don't consider it a problem. And I'm not putting words into Gio's mouth, but this is what I took from the conversation. And he was telling me that, so this guy was basically trying to ask him, how do I get the homeless people away from the church? Now I say this again, and I'm trying not to put this guy on the spot.
Oh, motherfucker.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like,
I do. I got red in the face. It made me so mad.
Yeah, because it's like, I take it from a person at that point who was just on the fence, Christian, or even not even feeling it anymore. To hear that, it's like, I did not even bat an eye. I kind of looked at him like, wow, that sucks. Because I hear that, I see that.
Oh, did you say that aloud?
To him? To
yeah.
Gio? Yeah.
No. Oh, I thought you were in front of the pastor. Forgive me.
Oh, no. This guy, This was a conversation that our mutual friend and we had, and just about these other people. And it wasn't to just blast them. It was just to kind of say, because yeah, I brought up one thing and he mentioned the same thing about that person. And I was like, I'm not surprised, but by hearing him say that, it actually helped me realize like, look, this is the reality. We're all human beings. We make mistakes. We have problems. But the thing is even though we don't say we're better than that person, if you're a Christian, you would never say, because that's pride. You're never going to say I'm better than you because I'm a Christian, but you're going to definitely try to show it because they do. They try to, oh, God's great, man. All the time. It's like, I'm not feeling that, man. I'm depressed. It's like, I don't really want to hear how great you're having it. So that doesn't entice me want to do this. I love kindness. I love the fact that people can be very humble and kind, but they always try to counteract that with, it's so much better over here.
Did you ever find a pastor that would be honest with you at all about depression or life?
Have drugs? I found one? Yes. Okay. It was actually he passed away recently, and it was sad. He was a great guy. He actually was the one who his name was Jeremy, and he was the one who married my wife and I.
Oh, cool.
And, this guy was almost, I don't want to say anything that would paint him in a different light, but he actually put things in perspective for me that made me either choose to be a better Christian or just not want to do it. Like, he gave me the opportunity to just feel comfortable. And that's
through his advice?
Just talking with him, his advice, because he was a normal dude, and he realized, like, look, there's a lot of great stuff out here. He would constantly tell me how much he loved beer. He's covered in tattoos. He was just like a normal guy who also understood through his teachings and going to church, reading the Bible, how awesome and powerful Christianity can be, or whatever, or God can be. And so I appreciated that approach because I felt comfortable bringing up that stuff, but I never really got to just unload like those, like, psychologically, these issues.
Did you? So what made you? I feel like we've been on this path for a minute, but what made you walk away a couple years ago, like you said?
I don't mind being on this path for a while. If we're like talk about all day, yeah, that's it.
That's the cohesiveness of the audience.
Yeah. But this is the beauty of it, is I feel like people like us, or at least like me, like, this is what we struggle with. It's just like there's so much to get out there.
Dude,
because of when you see trauma,
Yeah, but that's why this podcast is Redding in me, because since I was 18, essentially, this is what I've been doing with him. It's like,
and I appreciate you for that. Yeah.
Well, and like, because
sorry,
go ahead.
I'll answer your question, and then we can move on from that. But
we can keep
it
going.
was okay. We're at 2022 now. Pre-pandemic, going into the pandemic, there was a lot of things, whether it was politically, family, socially. There was so many things happening that made me question, and I hate saying question my faith, because I consider myself a very positive agnostic.
Okay, but like,
I hate having the wishy-washiness of what people approach that with, but it's
was
like,
it the way it the way the religious people in this country were acting? Did you not want to be associated with them anymore?
Yes, that was definitely not helpful. So I will say that, mixed with families, devout,
QAnon.
Loyal.
You have a QAnon, don't you?
It's very scary.
You have a QAnon, don't you?
I don't know, actually. I have a feeling I might, but I'm not gonna. What?
I do.
Oh, I know you do. I know you. But see, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. That's the thing. It's like,
right,
and that's why I constantly say I don't want to ever turn people away from Christianity, and especially if you're all into it, I want you to stay that way, because I feel like that helps make you a better person.
Sometimes,
I feel like for some people, not all people, but I do feel for some people. The problem is that people start to take that and apply it to their life, and then start to make their own decisions and go, oh, I'm better than this. And then they don't do, like, look.
What do you mean make their own decisions? I'm sorry.
Whether or not you're vaxxed, that is up to you.
Oh.
Don't tell me.
What are you doing?
Don't tell me that it's bullshit, because I am living proof. So is my very, very immune compromised sister who took the vaccine, got COVID, and only, like it lasted on her for like 4 days, and she was perfect. She's an asthmatic. She has every problem you can think of that could kill her. And the rest of my family who didn't take it all went to the hospital.
But so
tell me,
it's crazy.
Experience.
This is the pandemic and watching the Christian's logic
Yeah.
in your life play out, like just made you break mentally with it. You were finally like willing to be like, no, I'm done. I'm done skis.
Yes. And yes, I know.
When did you become agnostic then?
Well, it's because I want to believe in something like this. I grew up with it. It was my comfort.
That's
it's
my
like
problem. That's my
it's like
problem
this,
too, brother.
Just imagine if you were born in Nazi Germany and you didn't really believe in Hitler being the chosen one or whatever, yet you were swaddled in a swastika blanket.
Oh my God!
So you're like, oh, there's a little comfort there.
You're going for clips.
That bad? I don't know. Anyway, I'm just saying there's some comfort back there that I grew up with that I can't ignore because it helped me. It helped.
Well, let's say
maybe that was bad. I don't.
Yeah, because we don't want to. Because if it ties it down, you do not. You did not in any way support the third.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, it was an analogy that lit fire.
Imagine.
And now we're moving on. So yes. So point being is
swaddled in comfort.
Well, you asked questions, and that was both of us asked questions, right? And when you ask questions in the church growing up, you're kind of you get in trouble a lot.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
But did you ever read? Did you ever? What was your like? Did you have a Bible study, or did you read the Bible often?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I went to sometimes like 2 or 3 a week, just because it was the social.
Yeah, but Bible. Yeah. So my problem with church, well, excuse me, I shouldn't say that. Bible studies seem to be just talking over whatever the sermon was, and it's just people talking for a long time that don't have anything to say, and they're just repeating themselves, and then everyone's being super fucking nice. That's really what it is. Because, and I do think they're cool. I like the idea. Obviously, it's how Christianity started, is in these small home groups, right? But like, it's become this this banging cymbal or banging gong. It's like nothing. And Sunday morning is the same thing. Once you've gone to a church for about 2 years, you're like, oh shit, this pastor only has this many sermons. Like,
yeah,
he's like, it's like Jay Leno. He's like, no, he's got a set, and he does that.
Well,
every fucking show
because it works. Okay.
Yeah, but it gets butts and seats.
Mr. Redding put it best. Butts and seats, like you were just saying. Butts and seats. Yes, because it. I hate saying this because again, it sounds like I would be more happy currently with churches if they did pay taxes, because I know that can help things, and it would really put the perspective into a better understanding. Yes, but here's the thing: is that it's the butts and seats thing. It's like it's a business, man. It's hard to ignore that.
Big business.
Like people that try
huge
to not
billions tax free.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You are helping people, but you can still acknowledge that. Well, okay, I this is where I feel like it's beauty how we can differ with this.
Right. I hate because so now here's the thing. I grew up in a pretty small idea and sect of Christianity, and I respect almost all of the human beings I've met in those circles, except the pastors or anyone in leadership, mostly. But at the same time, again, it's just this. It's a fucking circle jerk. It's a circle jerk of ideas and dogmatic opinions. And nothing gets solved. Every month, every year, the same person's going to be crying in the back. The same person's going to be struggling with pornography. The same I'm not saying the idea is wrong, and I'm not saying that it's not needed. I love the idea of all of us getting together and all together aiming at good.
Right. But recovery and things for some people, which is why I feel like that's what I do appreciate about it. Because if it weren't for God, if it weren't for Jesus, my dad would be dead and my parents would be divorced. Like that's what I know. If it weren't for him,
pretty powerful name, right?
Right.
I'm wearing a fucking Carmen shirt. I don't think you saw that. Do you know Carmen?
No, I know. I'm just.
Oh my God!
I will definitely.
Spotify that shit, man.
I will.
It's dude. It's crazy. It was.
My
What is
current project. This is Evelyn's Casket. It's a horror punk band that I'm doing.
Oh, that's your new horror punk band. That's sick.
Yeah.
We'll put that. Send me a thing. We'll throw it up.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
So to me, for me, with church. Yeah. Well, actually, how do we?
What?
Well, it's really hard to talk about because I think the problem is as soon as you say anything slightly negative about Christianity, people just brand you as like a pissed off heretic.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not.
I hated that a lot.
Yeah, they can all suck my dick. I've read the Bible a bunch, and that's it. I keep reading the Bible every day because I try to hide the word of God in my heart that I might not sin against him. That's all it's been. But you can't run away from
feelings. Your question.
Feelings can sometimes be wrong, but lots of information.
But they do bring up questions. They do bring up things that should be discussed, especially that science and lots of things that are happening right now.
And maybe the motive of it is perfect, and maybe Jesus, like you said, is powerful, and maybe just over time, human beings do what we do best, which is fuck everything up. If there is a Satan, I guarantee you he does not hang out with like fucking meth addicts and prostitutes. He's fucking in every pulpit in every fucking church in America. He's in the Vatican every day. That's, if you can't beat him, join him and confuse him, because the outworking of this massively profit-driven fucking corporate section of our life. There's so many poor people. There's so many homeless people. How about this? How about you don't pay taxes, but there can never be a homeless person in your area ever, and that's 100% your responsibility, regardless of what you bring in. Yeah. Why are the teachings of Jesus?
The money where your mouth is with us.
Why are the teachings of Jesus so fucking watered down? People don't live it at all. I tried to start this podcast a bunch of times, and a couple of times it was with my wife. She's super, super genius, and I would read her some verse. Like for instance, the story of Jesus meeting where the really like young, awesome rich dude comes to him. Do you remember this story?
Is it how do I
how do I inherit eternal life? Yeah. And his answer, he's like,
give up all your money and be good. And he was
give
like,
up all your money and follow me.
I can't give my money. Yeah,
right. And then that's the fucking most gnarly verse. Assuredly, I say to you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And the apostles stood in wonder, and they said, who then can be saved? It's so gnarly. Yeah. But like, what if all the dogmas that built up Christianity we're now all suffering from, you and me are like literally getting high and having basically a free therapy session about I
feel that's a lot of people too, and that's what needs.
That's why we're doing this.
That's right.
Well, actually, the weird part is like a long time ago, back when I was single, I was in the dating world, and I would meet these girls, and they'd be Christian, but they've literally never even opened the Bible. Yeah, and I was just like. It's like, and it wasn't just girls. Obviously, it was come to find out, it's like 90% of, I know worship pastors that have only read like a verse or two.
Yeah,
and I was like, it blew my mind. So we should be able to have open discourse and throw all our ideas against each other. We should be able to do this kind of shit.
Question, especially, and this is what I also love about what you and Jeff are doing is. You don't even have to be inquisitive off the bat. It's just read a specific verse and be like, what does this mean? Like, it's like you're just literally reading the Bible and going, hey, it's not about how I interpret it, because that's not what the Bible was intended for, not how you interpret it. Because if it's supposed to be inerrant, if it's supposed to be like 100% truth. There should be no like this or like that. This is also why I appreciate, even though I hate at the same time, the Westboro Baptist Church, because they're getting so extreme with their
Oh no, they're literally the best Christians out there. If you like them and the Jehovah's Witnesses,
they will choke a bitch if
right,
they
dude. They're according to the consensus of all the four gospels together, Jesus was a zealous Jew that believed he was at the end of time.
Yeah, and so it's like there's no like, oh well, this kind of means this, but it's kind of.
By the way, I hate the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yes, same here. Obviously, like even even other Christians, the not real ones, I guess, whatever, don't like him either. But this is the other thing. It's like you line up 10 Christian pastors. Mm-hmm. Like young pastors, because these are the ones that I really question the most. People in their mid to later 20s to early 30s, and you say, hey, what does this mean, this particular part? And they'll give you 10 different answers, and it sucks because
about the Bible.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, not just maybe the Bible in general. I'm talking like you pick a verse.
Okay.
Because anything out of the Old Testament can be taken out of context unless you have someone explain it to you, and that's the problem. You're like, what the hell does this mean, and why is this even important? So because when every church I went to, or every Bible study I was a part of, never read anything in the Old Testament. It was always New Testament. Because No,
I actually listened to the whole New Testament in the last 2 days, actually.
Because the Old Testament is such a bummer with so much cool shit.
I think it's rad. Yeah, but it's also like.
But you can't apply any of that to real life.
What you're saying is this. So when I started questioning my faith, it was kind of along the lines of what you're talking about. So I obviously was involved in shit tons of Bible studies. I would do it with everyone I could. I definitely won't name names, but I would watch these people like take a book, open it up, read a verse, and then without knowing the date of the book, without knowing what translation it is, without knowing where the book fits in,
semantics.
They just go, this is what this means, and this is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, I've watched all the, for instance, if you have, if you think the Bible is inerrant, I think you haven't read the whole Bible, because it contradicts itself a lot in these places.
There's a lot, yeah.
A lot. And it's crazy. And it's okay. You could still believe in God and go to, it's okay. There's contradictions there. You got to understand why and how old. Like it's your problem, not the Bible's. But like fucking, so
that's tough though to be raised that way, believing that, and to try to like,
but to watch them wield it like this selfish, self-righteousness shield. So. And now you watch them move that wherever, because they've been practicing it forever. So politically, socially, they don't have to feed the poor. The poor have to pull themselves up and be good Christians. They just keep moving the goalpost of what it means. But I think there's also hope, because like Jonah is obviously like such a, which is crazy, even still like an important person in my life. Bergman, he got me to read the Satanic Bible.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, you're too nice. Like, you're letting everyone take advantage of you. And so I got in super trouble for it too, because my family found it and stuff. But what?
How old were you when that?
Man, let's see, 28?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right? But
and no matter what age, man.
When when
you're in that kind of like indoctrination of,
I was still
you're like a kid again and like getting spanked. I
had the studio across the street from my mom, and I was still making sure mom's house was taken care of and stuff. I lived there till I was 20.
Better not read that Satanic Bible.
It was really interesting because it's great, And I became this pretty stark atheist, and then I because of all the shit that went south in my life, I was so sad, but I kept using my knowledge of the Bible to embarrass Christians in public situations.
About the Bible, this is the thing about Christianity, is like it was so perfect. If it's so perfect and 100% like truth, then the first thing they should say is, go ahead, try anything else. You'll come back, because this is true.
Guaranteed.
Because what I was always taught was, oh, don't even look at anything else because you're going to be tempted and then you're going to
100%.
fail. It's like, but if this is 100%
true, it should be
and let me experience that so I can realize it, you know, and don't just tell me. It's like, look, one of the main conversations I've already had with my kids, because my oldest is 13 now, and I'm going to have continuing conversations about this, but I'm not going to ever say, don't even look at it. I'm going to say, look, I can't stop you, but I hope you understand and you choose correctly. Like,
oh yeah, my kids have Bibles.
I want her to make her own choices. And
yeah,
I know
my kids, you should be the one that explains it to them.
I know exactly what she's going to fuck up. They're both going to fuck up, but
that's life.
I want them to be able to come back and say, hey, mom and dad, I made a mistake. Not, oh, I better not I better not let them see, you know, like I want them to be able to come to me. And if I put this, like these full on barriers and the stigma on like life
Absolutes.
that can't do anything, they're gonna do it out of rebellion, and I might lose them.
They're gonna do everything out of rebellion, dude. That's what.
Well, yeah.
My kid dresses like an accountant.
Well, I'd rather choice without feeling like I'm gonna punish them.
Yeah, no, I totally. Well, and
them, you know.
Yeah, I do think the funny thing is like, as I've grown, I've met really rad humans that have a faith and they're great human beings. Yeah. Like that, he's been on here, Kevin. Just like,
that was great. That guy's
whenever we hang out, I laugh so hard that I like cry. I just cry. He's so funny and so smart. He's great. Yeah. And you know, he has a faith. Gio, there's certain people, and for me, I've just stopped focusing on what I get harassed by tons of fundamentalists all the time.
Yeah.
And I just don't focus on it because our time here is short. And if there's anything that I took away from my time reading the Bible, is that like whatever's going on here is really precious.
Yeah.
And that if we just like take the good things, I don't know. See, I'm trying to justify the Bible always like a fanboy and have faith like these people I'm talking about, but it's hard for me because I know the Bible too much. And
and that's also what I'm saying too, is like, because you said it multiple times, like trauma, and that's hard.
This is working through religious trauma with.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is the whole reason why I'm here, is because I don't, just like you were saying, and I feel like you were getting to this point, but I don't have anyone else I can talk to about this. And it's not that I haven't tried finding people. I literally haven't, like the people I do talk to, they don't either want to talk about it, or not because they were like ashamed of it. This is not they don't care, you know? And the people that do care, that I want to talk about this, I know would either be so sad if they heard, or they felt this way. Like, they can't appreciate the fact, like, you are your own person, you're going to make your own decisions. It's like, no, now if you're a Christian, you have to like literally fall over yourself for this other person because they lost their faith. And it's like, I'm not saying you to not care, but I think you have to respect the fact that I have my own personality with this. I don't want to.
Yeah, unfortunately, no, I think those people, even the ones that badger me, are beautiful humans. Yeah. I think they mean well. I
like the fact they care, you know, but
but the problem is the conversation is going to go like this. Anytime I say something that doesn't fit with their dogma, they're going to disagree and try to change my mind. The entire reason they're there is to try to change my mind. Yet they're not willing to engage with me with a basis, a flat, like, here's reality, times, dates, science is wrong. But, you know, I just don't have time for it. Have you ever heard of did you ever hear of the Ark Museum that's in like Kentucky?
Well, what about it? I guess not then.
So they made an Ark, like.
That Ark, yes.
That guy that got destroyed by.
Sorry, yes, I did hear.
Got destroyed by Bill Nye, who's my favorite thing.
I didn't read the story, but I heard, someone built a life-size replica of the Ark or something like that.
Yeah, and you know, Adam and Eve are white.
Oh, apparently.
Cool. Yeah, yeah, and there's it's like a museum for indoctrinating kids. My favorite part is they just filed $1 million lawsuit because the Ark had so much damage from rain. And it's the problem of this. So fundamentalists don't have a leg to stand on. They have the best intentions. They're great humans, but we have to get that kind of fervor up to, a flat baseline of reality. And it's just until then you can't. But like, psychedelics in this weird way, because me, I would drink back on tour, but like,
yeah, I know.
That's because I was first Miracle Club shit. But I believe in Jesus,
But see, that's the fun thing is like even looking at scripture, like it pretty much promotes wine like it is salvation.
Yeah, no, actually, I don't even remember
that Bible stuff. Yeah.
I listen. I think it's maybe in Philippians. It's like drink wine to keep your stomach. Blah blah blah.
Oh, there's stuff in Proverbs, stuff in Ephesians. I mean,
for real. There's everything in Proverbs.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is like. This isn't about finding what
favorite book.
What?
Probably my favorite book.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, this Psalms and Proverbs are very like it's all like.
Psalms has some fucking praises of dashing babies against rocks.
Right.
Blessed are you when you dash your enemy's baby against the rocks.
Well, you're doing it in love. No.
Sure. Sure. Hey, sure. Funny, like, all those Christians taking away fucking women's rights to fucking choose for their body.
Yeah, they
praising Jesus.
I'm kidding.
I didn't hear it. So
joking.
Good.
I'm joking.
Good. I'm taking
a joke.
Have you ever seen this movie? This Is the End.
Yeah.
Dude, I was watching it. So this is my neighbor.
I'm drinking tea right now. See
this shit.
Yeah.
When I first moved to Santa Monica, I was starting to do this. And my neighbor knew I smoked weed. He gave this to me.
Nice.
And I started calling it Gandalf on here. And I watched fucking This Is the End last night. And Seth Rogen, the beginning is like, he's like, this is the Gandalf pipe.
That's
and I'm
funny.
like, how did I steal that from Seth Rogen without?
I'm sure, yeah.
That movie is brilliant.
That movie is great, yeah.
That movie is, he's fucking brilliant. He's got so many years of the best fucking work. He makes such good shit.
Well, I would believe most Jewish writers always seem to have a really more entertaining perspective on Christianity than Christians do. Even though
they take it a little too close to the chest, and maybe that's that's the problem.
Yeah.
The fun part is how pissed they get about the weed angle. But every Christian I know is an alcoholic.
Yeah, because apparently it's okay to drink, but not okay to do anything else. Unless they tell you it's not okay to drink, then you're just told to shut up. So.
Yeah, I don't really drink much anymore. I can't.
Well, that was the funny thing about a lot of the churches that I dealt with or was ever a part of. They openly talked about what kind of beers they like, what kind of alcohol.
I love drinking, and I love my years drinking. I just can't hang anymore. I'm fucking 40.
But that's it's hard to hear that even at an older age when you're growing up like with family members who were alcoholics, and then always being taught that is not just being drunk is bad, but drinking beer is bad. Drinking.
Well, to be honest, the Bible says, something to the effect of like the time is short, so don't be drunk with wine.
Right.
But so there's it's right. Jesus is coming back. Like Jesus.
Yeah, right. Be aware.
I'll be right back. BRB.
Yeah,
real quick. Yeah, real quick. And the crazy part is, Mark 9:1 even says it. Like Jesus says something to the effect of, we're so high. Assuredly, I say to you, not one of you will pass away before you see the kingdom of God coming in its glory. And it's like, that seems, Jesus has a lot of ties to this, especially, I'm pretty sure it's pretty apparent in Mark. I'd have to check my notes, but
just being clear of mind,
being zealous. Have you ever read that book, Zealot?
No.
Oh God, there's two books you have to read. These are amazing. They're by Reza Aslan, I think. I'm so high. God and Zealot. They're really good. They might, he's not a Christian, and you might not agree with his theology, but there's some really fucking interesting shit in both books.
I'm trying to open myself up more to other opinions and other sides, just to have more of that open conversation.
It takes a long time, and I just got a class from this guy. I'm gonna mess up his last name. God damn it! I'm so sorry. His name's Dan Mcclellan. He is
very.
oh, dude, he's
Maybe I heard you talk
amazing.
about him.
So I literally sometimes just put his TikTok channel on and watch videos all day. It's so amazing. I missed it luckily, but he let me buy it a class on Ashra, which is the base. I think anyway. There's great places, and I can show you. I can send you some of these book links if you want to, because the problem
I'm
with
always open to that stuff, man.
yeah, because the literature on Bible stuff is really hard to find objective shit because the subject lends itself to have people of faith writing about it, so they always have their opinions. You'll read a book and it will just say one sentence like, and we know the Bible is the inerrant word of God, and then they just every premise they make.
That sounds good.
The rest of the book is on that, and it's like, yeah, well, you should have defined that because from that one sentence, that's fucking wrong.
Yeah, right.
But I can point you to some of those. And have you ever fucked with psychedelics?
Yeah, one time, yeah. It wasn't for me.
Because the control thing.
Yeah.
No. I understand.
I think it's. I want to say yes, but I just feel like it brought me more anxiety when I didn't want it. Because I think
that's why I like it.
Yeah, I know. I was just so like, no, maybe no.
What did you do?
Yeah, this was an early band on tour a while ago. I don't even really know, but it was weed that was laced with something. That's all I remember.
Oh, that's not fun. That's not psychedelic. No, that's a fucking rodeo.
Yeah,
that's not a mushroom trip in the woods with your friends.
Well, I remember staring off into space. I was literally on the East Coast somewhere. I think Delaware. I don't fucking know.
You smoked blood, brother.
Yeah, I was
that's PCP.
And then just spinning around, and then I don't even know what happened after that. That's all I remember. And it was just like I just remember not being happy at all. And it was like, I don't like it.
Do you remember Davidson talking about smoking blood?
No.
Where you take a joint and you spray Raid on it?
Oh, the rat poison thing. Yeah. No thanks.
He's one of my favorite humans.
Yeah, I had a not an issue with it, but like I doing some fun pills for a while.
Pills aren't good. They don't break you through to the goddess.
No, but they definitely make you feel stupid.
No, they get you numb. But you want to deal with it. You want to go, man. So like.
I guess it was more fear, if anything. I was more like not really happy about what I would do or be or act like under the.
That's sad because I've seen you in so many circumstances. You've always been lovely. You're just a kind, loving, beautiful human.
Yeah, but I don't know. I know my limits with the two mains, which is weed and alcohol. But anything beyond that is like it makes me nervous. And
well,
I get into that being nervous, and it doesn't help.
So like I had those two. I had two pretty big zeroing out effects in my life based around these relationships. And so when the second one failed, I just was like on the floor for like 3 days in my kitchen, didn't move. Yeah. And like realizing that every single aspect of this is my fault. Yeah. And I was trying to put it back together, and I was starting to realize that I like serve my loved ones around me like I serve God, which is trying to earn their love through my actions and merit. And love is essentially
it's a gift from God. Yes.
Well, it's not for me. It's like you have to, what is it? You have to earn it. Too high, but it's there. So when I got up, and at this point, I was like, it was a couple months that I was kid free, not by choice. Right. Luckily, it was the only of them. But
right.
There was this week where first night, I think I did like Monday I did acid, Tuesday I did hot yoga, Wednesday I did mushrooms, Thursday I went boxing, Friday I did DMT, Saturday I went into isolation take. Sunday, it was just like I was like I need to essentially nuke my brain.
Yeah.
And it was that. So at this point in my life, there has been so much struggle, and every single motherfucking thing that every single pastor and every single good intentioned Christian had told me, had nothing to do with me, it was all about them. And I blindly followed their advice and led to these horrible places. It was, my fault.
Yeah.
And, I smoke this DMT. I'm pretty much instantly in a disco in Japan with Felix the cat. And I'm just like dancing. And it was like the cool, and I was like, fuck it. And I'm like, what the fuck was going on here? Yeah. And then I kind of continued to have just this really rad, cool, crazy experience. And it, even from that first time, that wasn't like, I didn't break through or like, there's another time I took 14 hits. It had like an hour long.
Jeez.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
I guess you can.
It was intense.
You had what would be called a psychedelic cleansing.
Yeah. Well, and like, the effect was afterwards is I was like, like humbled isn't really a word because stupid Christians use that too much. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, it was like seeing the ocean for the first time. It's like, I am nothing. And my opinions I just got to try to do my best. Cause like, I do think there's something outside of this.
Yeah. No, I've definitely been curious enough to want to, and it's not
helped me a lot. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up.
No. And I think that's great. I've even been kind of watching parts of it. I haven't been able to finish yet, but other documentaries about stuff like this. It's what helped get me. I don't want to say get me back into marijuana, but also appreciate the fact that there is a use, a cause, a remedy by use of, that can actually, I know firsthand people that have remedied greatly from that. Some people I do know with psychedelics, that it's certain other pains and things like that. But it was for me personally, I didn't feel like I needed that that sense of open-mindedness that I feel like you get that can help.
Yeah, some people can do yoga.
And it's like I'm kind of getting there more, and not to decrease the value of it, but getting there naturally. No. Because I found
you're on the natch. I'm kind of perfecting humanity,
No.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's like once I crossed over the 40 mark, I realized like my body can't tolerate a lot of these things, so I've been cutting out a lot of like diets and doing all this other stuff. It's been super beneficial, and when I ended up starting my business, I spent like 8 years of like no music. I put everything aside, and I had Why
don't you pump your business? You have a successful restaurant.
I am a co-owner of a business called Biscuit and Bean.
Where are your locations, Ben Libay?
Well, there's a new location opening up in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
I know. Yes, and we have a lovely young man named Mike Laser. That is his real name, and he will be the one in charge of that location. That is his store, and it's going to be amazing. But yeah, it was a food business that I spent almost my entire 30s.
Yeah, you're successful, so you didn't have time to play music.
But oh my God, it was like just the opportunity to come back and start playing again, which happened during the pandemic. A friend called me up and was just like, "Hey, I'm working on these songs. Can you help me out?" And then since then, we've been playing a band together. So it's like it helped me like get back to what I feel is important in my own life, of just like having that happy spot, of having like an outlet, having something that you love.
I'd say it's more. I think that's you have to have. Yeah, maybe it's different for other people, but it's like for us, it's a conduit to the divine. Like it is a spiritual. It is church. Like. I remember when we were touring and shit, I literally in my head would always be thinking, I want to play as many rock shows as humanly possible until I die. I want to just keep playing every day.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do.
And you loved it. It was a drug.
It's therapeutic.
When
it all comes together. Right. So, and maybe I used to really love this idea of the body of Christ, that someone's a hand and someone's a foot and someone's a head. And so, because it seems like synergistically you can get so much more done in the culture that way. Right. And
when everything works together
and maybe that's what we're missing. Everyone's so divided. And like, I know I know we get like, the podcast gets a lot of hate from the fundamentalists.
Oh, yeah,
but it gets way more love, which is weird to me.
How
Like,
can
we
you
get
say
so
that
many emails?
what you're doing and this idea is still truth? Because you're speaking your mind, you're speaking what you feel, and that's exactly what a lot of Christianity is. It's all feeling based, and it's
Whoa.
based off of what they believe is absolute and truth. So you
Yeah.
speak the truth, and when you're feeling this way, it's like, this is how I feel. That is truth.
Well,
You're
yeah,
coming out
I go back and forth every week, and I do think in many ways the Bible is like, I think you could say it's one of the most important books for humans. Period. Not the only one, obviously, but or has been at least for a long time.
it can be weaponized. We already covered that.
I think like I already told you, I think fucking Satan controls the church. That's why everyone's a Christian. They've never read the Bible. And that's yeah, right. But like I think we start having conversations, and we start in the popular dialogue, in the zeitgeist, if you will. We start moving these ideas of God to what it should be, because there is some spiritual experiences are fucking hard to unfeel, like you're saying. You know what I'm saying? And even before drugs, I remember that fucking, what was that fucking God of Wonders. Do you remember that? Do you remember that Third Day song?
Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Right.
Okay.
I remember like walking on a beach at a Christian retreat when I was like 13 by myself, because I was always socially awkward. And so like I was looking up at the stars. They were just massive on this weird place in Washington, singing that song, and just like seriously having what could be called like a psychedelic experience,
Yeah.
And that was drug free. That was just me and my mind. Right.
Yeah.
And
for me, it was Chris Tomlin, but yeah.
Chris Tomlin.
I like his stuff. His music is good.
Oh, dude, do you remember PAX 217?
Yes, I played with him.
I did too.
Remember that?
Wait, did you play that? Radium played that show.
That's right.
We fucking played a show together.
Played a show together when we didn't know each other. Yeah. We played right after you guys. Yeah.
That's so weird.
Isn't that fun?
I was not very good at guitar back then, in all honesty.
I was not very good at drums either. So
Radio was great.
It was a great show.
Yeah, it was a great show. There was a lot of people there. I played TBN. One of my buddies. I'm gonna hide my face behind the mic and mute this out. But one of my buddies sold a trash bag of weed once at this barbecue to.
Yeah.
This is like 2000. Yeah. Well, I mean, it blew my mind, right? I mean, when I played TBN, here's a fun story, which is in like, by the way, so these Christian bands I played in too were awesome, and the human beings in them were I guess I got lucky because they're fucking badass. Some of them. A couple of them are real Christians, in my opinion, But we got flown out to Nashville, and we're playing. And like the first thing is, there's this huge Bible you're supposed to sign in the lobby, and I just like there's like a basketball player before us, like, and I'm just like, this is so blasphemous. This is like, and then we sound check, and then we go up to our green room, and then in the fucking. There's a bathroom that's attached to the green room, and like every surface of the male's bathroom was a mirror, like even around the urinals. So like anywhere you looked, you just saw like 70 of your dicks. It was just dick everywhere. And so like fucking, so the guitar player came in too. We were just both peeing next to each other, and it was just like pretty much anywhere you look, there's a fucking wiener. Wow. And I was like, this is weird. Like, this is a
Anyone else get a chance? You want to see?
Yeah. Good job, Joe.
You don't have to look hard. Dude, yeah. Same band. Then we played that same show, right?
The PAX 217 one?
Yeah, so that band that I was in at that time, it was the bass player's birthday, We drove to Vegas to go celebrate that birthday.
A Christian birthday in Vegas? What are you guys gonna do?
So
Yell
Vegas
at people?
time, yeah, right. Vegas time in a Christian. Well, we weren't claiming to be a Christian band, but we were Christians in a band, as some of them like to so elegantly put themselves. We went to Vegas. This was like a Friday night. Saturday, and at the time I was living in California. So Saturday day, we had a show, right? So I'm in Vegas with my singer and my bass player at the time, and bass player's birthday. So we're hanging out Vegas time, and this was 2000 and I want to say 3 or 4. I don't remember. I get shithoused, like fucked up drunk, and I so drunk I time traveled. So like, and what I mean by that is like, you know, you start in one place and you end up in the other place. You don't know how you got there. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we started in New York, and we were staying in the Paris hotel.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Or no, the Aladdin. And I just remember leaving New York, and just in the hotel room in the Aladdin.
And you're in a Christian band?
Doing cartwheels in the place. And I don't know
How do you justify all this drinking?
Oh, because we're Christians. Anyway, so we flew out. Like I'm woken up the next morning by my singer, who's not drunk. He thankfully like got me on the plane.
Oh wow!
Back that we flew back.
Yeah, he was praying for you the whole time. He was.
I don't remember
for your soul.
I don't remember any of this. I just remember
like,
being,
Lord help Ben.
Yeah, I was super feeling sick. But see, I went from like where my car was when we flew back to the show, straight to the show.
Oh, the PAX one. Okay.
No. This sorry, not that show. This was a completely different show. This was a day show at a water park, a Christian event.
Yes. Big Splash. They had one of those in Washington.
Yeah.
Totally.
So I'm the first one out of our band there at this show. I look like shit. I don't even realize it. So I get it. I get to the place. I'm like, hey, I'm in one of the bands we're supposed to play today. I'm really tired. Like I'm just like looking at the person who I'm like, look, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to go. Can you help me out? And she's like, oh yeah, it's this person. If you want to, you can just hang out over here for a bit, and then when the rest of your band shows up, you know, we'll get you all situated. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. I walk away, and girlfriend at the time meets me there. She's probably like 5 feet away from me. She's like, oh my God, I can smell you from here. And I'm like, oh shit. Like I was just talking to somebody who's running this event, and I'm like,
yep. You still got the booze in the blood.
Yeah, I felt terrible. I was like going through a whirlwind of emotions. I know, right?
You're a sinner.
Yeah. But see,
this came back from Vegas.
Yeah, I know. I smelled of everything, and I don't even know, like how I can't really remember how the rest of that show went. But I do remember how that time frame. Well, that time frame of my life, it was a lot of drinking's fine. Yeah, we all do it because
I didn't start doing it till you joined the band, and life was so stressful.
Yeah, and that was
great,
very impressive.
What? You're one of the best drummers.
No, about you drinking at that time frame.
Oh, I
thought you were lying the whole time, but then I really know he's serious. You know.
Oh, no, about not drinking?
Yeah, I just thought you were. You know, like,
no, I didn't.
A virgin again. You know, totally.
Yeah, when I was touring with Zach right away, when my girlfriend would come out, we would sleep in separate beds in the hotel room. Mm-hmm. And he came to hang out with us once, and he was like, "This is too fucking weird for me," and then just left.
I was trying to connect you, then. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
that guy.
You know, he's the best. He's literally like John Lennon, David Bowie, Zach. It changes a little bit, but he's usually 2 or 3 of songwriters' favorite of all time. He's fucking genius. Just Bible stuff, because this has essentially just been a therapy sesh for both of us. It totally has. Don't run away. It's okay. It's on the internet, unedited.
I figured this is what we would be talking about anyway. I mean, and
Yeah, well,
I mean, I love
helps
discussing
keep
all this stuff.
consistency.
But this is also what I feel is important because I I I had to realize I'm not the only one that feels this way or is probably going through the same thing.
Well, let's no, definitely not. And let's do something that's because like this is the fun part about this is if this is the word of God, the Bible, it should be able to stand up against this. It should be able to stand up against weed. Should be able to stand up against science. Or let's say maybe it should align with science. Or let's say maybe we should try to put all of our understandings of the modern age and the past and this all together and figure this all out through dialogue, right? But when you grow up with these dogmas, you know, for me it would always be like there's 2 verses in Matthew that go like, I think it's like Matthew 5:8, where it's like turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
And then Matthew 10 something is like, I did not come to bring peace but a sword. And I just fucking would break my brain, and then I'd go to my pastor. I'm like, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
and then it's just
and they just say, just go read the New Testament. Here's a cookie. You know, go.
Well, you know, and then you
found we got. You know,
I find out that most of them are very uneducated about it. They've gone to a school that's like funded by a church that isn't even accredited, or you know, I found out unfortunately most of them haven't even read the whole Bible.
Right. What I to tag onto that, what was always upsetting is talking with people in the church who, you know, joined a particular church or became a worship leader, a pastor, whatever, and they said, because I felt led to do this, and then that particular part of that or that church fails, and then they use that another excuse. Oh, well, God was leading me into a different direction. I'm like, so there's no failure amongst any Christians now, because unless you literally aren't a Christian anymore, then you failed. But it's like if the church fails, something happened.
Yeah, they keep moving the boundary, and then you see it in their politics too. You know, I was. I won't talk bad about this person because I love them. But one time there was this, and this is like, you know, we're old as fuck now, right? So it's the 90s.
Super old.
This person points at Donald Trump and on a magazine. It's like, he is the worst human that's ever lived. You know, and now it's like their Facebook is only about him being anointed by Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because everyone change, especially when they're super rich, right? And
well, yeah, these people aren't. So,
yeah,
but, you know,
by the pussy guy is the you know, apparently is anointed by God to lead the nation, I guess.
Yeah, I kept just there was a dinner where I just wouldn't let that up. I just like, can you pass the salt? Grab her by the pussy. I just kept doing that around him, you know. I can't handle it. It's
I still haven't had those conversations with my close family, because I feel that will be the nail on the coffin there, because my parents are old.
I'm only talking about the Bible. This shows I want to be open about religion, so we stay out of politics totally. But you know, for me, it's just pointing out a specific case of hypocrisy that I was getting to encounter. And
it's worth talking about. And this is actually one of the things I tried talking about with multiple people, is just to open that floor, because I can literally just finger through the Bible, pick a verse, and probably find something that goes against everything that's been happening. Like, to their credit, it's like, this is what the Bible says. And they're like, oh, well, it's, you know, that's what stating it. So it's like,
try to give a specific.
Okay, if you're picking Old Testament, it's like, you know, and not to get super political, but just to look at something like, or not even Old Testament, just even the teaching,
the whole thing,
the
canonized Bible, the 66 books,
just like the verse you brought up earlier, stating that, you know, a man walks up to Jesus and says, how do I, you know, obtain eternal life, or how do I become a better person, Christian, whatever. And Jesus says, give up all your wealth and, you know, be a good person, you know. It's like, it's very simple. Like, it literally it's been transcribed over generations, and it was taught to me, you know, take up your cross, follow him. But but there's more to it. It's like, give up everything.
Well, you know, I don't know if you know much about James, the brother of Jesus.
What about?
He lived his entire life that guy. He lived in borrowed clothes.
Yeah,
and he was like very well respected amongst those. Obviously, right? He's the brother of the dude, half brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, when he died, it caused a riot. He was that, and he spent his entire life just giving to the poor. He has one of my favorite verses in the Bible. It goes, "True Christianity is to give to the widowed and the orphans, and to keep oneself unstained from the world." I messed it up a little bit, but
no, I know. Yeah, I know what you're.
yeah,
you're
but it's
saying.
like, so like, for me, as I unpack it, I like that angle of Jesus, but also it just is like,
we all fall short, and
I don't think so.
I think a lot of us do. I'll say us, meaning if we were Christians, because we would never reach that ability of Christianity of being.
That's the reason Christianity thrives so much is self-hatred. I think it preaches self-hatred.
Because it's like a therapy.
Self-hatred,
right?
Because everyone feels shitty about themselves, and it's like a weird evolutionary biological fucking thing, and they just attach to that, and it's been very successful. Now,
but a lot of pride.
I'd say that's the abuse of it, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to say should be the norm.
That's what I feel like we approach church or the Bible with, is like this feeling like I'm a piece of shit, help me. Yeah. And that's what we look at the church to fix us. And then we look at the church being, this is God's teaching, be a better person. That's why I always say, like, okay, for some people that needed that help, they got it through God and through Jesus. And then they became a better person out of that because they just wanted to live a better life according to this book, which great. But then when you become a leader of others, utilizing this book as something that can possibly get your own agenda across, because it's very easy when you get that power, because when you have a pastor sitting singularly on a stage talking and everybody's hanging on your every word, it's like, that's powerful, man. Like, you can say anything and they're going to be like, oh, okay. Like, it's very easy to lead people astray and just to do whatever you feel is your agenda. And it's hard not to acknowledge that,
I know it's, a little bit like too close to call or whatever, but I'd say they've all failed. Like, I do think there's real churches and real pastors out there, real believers and real Catholics and real Christians, people that are living by it. They're doing great. I've met them. I think there's actually a lot, kind of like this. Like, there's a lot of errors in the Bible, but like almost 80% or 90% of them are like spelling.
Yeah.
So it's like, that doesn't really fucking change what was transmitted down. So I when you look at you can still take the facts of history and like what we know through like archaeology and these people that study ancient Greek, and still it still can fit into your daily life. It still can be a belief. But like when it's weaponized,
a way to be better. Yes.
Oh, when it's weaponized, it's very effective. In 2019, I think it was, or 20. Like something ridiculous, and I know I'm fucking up because I'm stoned, but like 16 of the top Christian Facebook accounts were run by like Turkish troll farms. And it's like, of course, because like,
where's my bell? I'm gonna ding that. I would love.
Yeah, look it up. It's great. Yeah, it's great because like, here's the deal: like, people, all of us, it doesn't matter. Life's hard, and you're usually working, and you got shit to do. And when someone just says good things about Jesus, boom, they're in.
Yeah,
they're in. Right? With 45% of this country, it's just like, boom, works. You love the Lord. You love the Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I get it, because who wouldn't want to be against bad and good?
Yeah.
But,
and when you die, you go to the great pie in the sky, and everybody's happy. You get many virgins and riches and all this other stuff. So,
it's funny that none of that shit's really in the Bible.
Yeah, no.
Heaven, hell. I mean, heaven is obviously Revelations. It seems to.
I find it very important to acknowledge that, and it's funny because it wasn't until later in life that I actually did, and it's amazing how that. Weird, huh? And I hate to say it because it does sound bad, but that manipulation works, where you're not even questioning certain things, like going back and reading the Bible from the first and second books, and
you
you're
mean
like,
thinking
what?
for yourself?
Yeah, well, no, just reading that right as what is written, and you're going like, oh my God, this is like Game of Thrones shit here.
It
you know,
is Game
it's
of
like,
Thrones shitty. Yeah,
and it's just insane to look at that and be like, so what does this mean when they're having sex with each other and they're related? And
so
oh,
when
you're not gonna
Laban
explain that
and his
part to me?
daughters,
Yeah, it's righteously so to say it's fucked up, you know, and what we're just supposed to give it a pass because it's the Bible, you know, and I can't help but like want to have those conversations. Like, I'm not trying to point it out and go, how you're wrong. It's more of like, please, what the hell is this? You know, like explain this, and no one does. You know, it's like just kind of glossed over. That's the way it was back then. We're not living under that that doctrination anymore, or we're not having to do sacrifices. This is why Jesus came down to be the eternal living sacrifice for us. And it's like, oh, okay, so everything's just fine. So why do we even have these books?
But yeah, I mean, if you do believe in Jesus and that he's coming back, why are you doing anything? Why are you buying an iPhone? Why are you having a Facebook? Why? And if it's to reach more people for Jesus, why are you spending more time on that than actually studying the scriptures?
Yeah.
You know,
I've read the whole Bible, but like, can I say that I actually I've maybe retained 20%.
Very hard. Well, that's why I just constantly listen to it. Like I said, like,
well, because I haven't revisited the Bible more in depthly until more recent, and
fascinating.
Because there's books in there. I'm like, oh yeah,
yeah,
there are these books. I completely forgot about Habakkuk.
Even Jonah's fascinating. Jonah's like an asshole.
Yeah, Jonah's
great
great
in the book.
Yeah, but he righteously got his just deserts of being swallowed by a whale.
No, he fucking
not even a whale.
Even after that, he doesn't really repent. That's the funny part. It's and I mean,
but
I'm not. It's just weird because that's not what's taught in Sunday school. You know?
No, it's not. Especially,
I don't think it takes away from the story. I think it makes it more interesting.
Well, yeah, and that's the funny part about Old Testament stories.
Have you read the book of Job?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you've read the whole Bible. Yeah. What do you think?
Like I said, like, did I retain most of it? No, because
it always fucked me up. So it starts off with like God and Satan playing like CeeLo, like playing like a dice fucking game with this dude's soul or something. They're like, yeah. Well, it's like
take away everything out from his life, and he will not worship you, and then like give him boils.
Immanuel Kant has this really cool book about it, and he's like, essentially, it's like basically God's really jealous and wants to be human. He said at one point, it's really, I was like, what?
That's fascinating.
But, for those that don't know the arc of the story, this very successful guy has as much bad things happen in one day as you could possibly have. And the entire time, he just takes it like a man. He's kind. And he's like, I will not curse or blame anyone else. God gave me a good life. Now God's giving me a bad life. We're going quick here, folks. And then at the end, because he doesn't do this, he gets a bunch of virgins. And a bunch of new kids and a bunch of new houses and everything's, and it's the weird, it's like, to me, that's the weird, because I was taught to read the Bible.
Are you saying that if you be righteous, you're going to get lots of sex and money?
Nope.
Oh.
Well, actually, yeah.
You had me there for a second.
Yeah, I was like, get a helicopter. There's a lot of preachers slinging dick. But like, but so there's this guy that podcaster that Burke sent me in a really hard time in my life that like basically saved my life, in all honesty. His name's Duncan Trussell. Have you ever heard of this guy?
I can't say that I have.
Oh, he has a rad Netflix show called the Midnight Gospel. It's like
that sounds.
It's amazing. Well, that's just his podcast put to animation.
Oh,
and so I listened to way too much. I just stopped listening to it so I could try to get my own ideas, But it did help me with so much religious shit. And I got so vulnerable in this story. I kind of forgot where we go. We were just talking about, you get like self-conscious. You're like, oh, I'm saying my inners.
Oh man, yeah, dude. But this whole thing, like doing this,
it's pretty nerve-wracking. Huh?
Well, it's just because like I was trying to prepare for this, where like I literally have a lot of stuff down, like
it was it's emergency day
stuff. I even have notes and I put everything.
We'll do that when Redding's
back. Yeah.
But real podcast.
What I love, like I keep praising you guys for this because this is opening up the conversation that needs to be had. I feel like it's an extremely important conversation, no matter where you're at with this, if you believe in or if you don't, because everyone's going to approach this with these questions. And what I was taught was to ignore your feeling or your tendencies and not ask these questions. Now, this was
belief
41, dude, so it's like from my youth up until, you know, I left and, you know, moved away and everything. This is what I was indoctrinated. You know, this is what was taught to me, is these particular things. Now, I'm not blaming anybody negatively and putting them in any position like that, because most of these people were dealing with very limited.
Most of those people in the congregations are so great.
I love
great humans.
I love my parents, and they were operating off a very limited experience, funds, and everything. You know, they were their best, and I don't blame anybody for that. But
great
like
community.
We started that conversation about, you know, you were asking me for an example of, I guess you could say, challenging somebody with that. Like, I don't like doing that, but I do like having the conversation, because I never want to come at this aggressively where it's like, oh yeah, because that's what I was almost taught to be, is this aggressive Christian, to be like, you like Satan? Well, fuck you. Oh, I mean, you suck. I mean,
it's a war. Our battle is not against flesh and blood, but principalities of darkness. Yeah,
exactly. So where I like to challenge with what was happening through with the pandemic and everything like that, this wasn't me trying to challenge. This was me showing my frustration with, you know, the current state of things. And I was talking with my sister, and regardless of, again, I want to make sure it's neutral here, but it's like, regardless of who you voted for or whatever, this is just my stance. And what I said to her, because she was somehow, the whole presidential thing got brought up, and I said, well, according to the Bible, it says you should give up all your wealth and follow him. And it's like, so how do you do that when you're a billionaire and you talk about it constantly, about how much money you have, how smart you are, and how no one knows this or is capable of doing this except you? Pride, wealth, and just admiration for your self-loathing. And it's like, and I brought that up to her, and she's just like, well, so you don't think that God could be using people in higher positions to do his
and so you know what, can I point something out too? The Old Testament says you can't charge interest on loan. Right. Yeah. So you can't make money off interest, which is how most of the really wealthy get there. You and like,
don't put others in debt.
If you get sued, you know, Jesus has a bunch of stuff about that. If someone asks you for, so essentially, if someone takes you to court, you're supposed to give them more than they're asking for.
Yeah. So
according to the dude,
I responded to
JC, man.
The JC. I responded to my sister, and I wasn't trying to put her down or put her in her place, but I just said, okay, fine, but how can you do that and at the same time talk about how great you are? Like self-proclamation that you are the best, the greatest, no one knows you better than this, or knows this better than you. It's like, that seems like a very, very vanity/loathing thing to be and to express openly. Like, because I learned this through other people, is that, you know, respect is obviously earned, but you don't ever talk about, like, I learned this with music, is that you never talk about how great you are.
Never.
You let others.
Let your praise come from the lips of other men.
Right. But Proverbs. Like, you, as a musician, it's like, I've never wanted to be like, I'm the best drummer, or no one knows drums like I do. But I was that guy to like, let them talk about it. People do.
No, you'd never say anything about it. Just practice.
Okay, thanks. But if they don't say anything, then I'm not saying anything. It's like, I don't talk like that, because I was
if you don't think I'm really good at guitar, then I fucked up, not you.
Or I feel like that's not my place to praise myself. Like, who does that? No one does that. I don't know a single person.
Do you have when you see someone who loves himself, do you get bummed? Do you get mad at them?
Yeah.
Right. But see, that should be the natural state of life.
Yeah.
I mean, even Jesus says, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself."
You're right,
which is so powerful. No one in the Christian church does.
And whether you're Christian or not, that's something we can all take. Is like, that's why I love that Jesus guy, because cool. As far as teachings go, these are great things you can apply to life. But the thing is,
not all of them.
Not all, but you know what I mean. Like some of these things are really, really good to be a better person. It's just like any other story, any other quote you hear. Like I love
it
that,
seems to have
but
a lot. I mean, I have different opinions of it that don't match any of the norm, and I keep them private because that's for me, bitches. But they do change a lot over time because I find out new facts about the Bible or a book or this.
Exactly.
Like, have you ever read the Gospel of Mary Magdalene? Oh, you probably heard us stoned as fuck to it, huh?
No.
Yeah.
Like, I have heard of this, and I it's like, just for those that may not know this, it's like when you get older and you're doing stuff, you find yourself being busier than you've ever been, and
sure.
like every free moment I have, it's like I should have done that. Like I should have researched that, but it's all I want to do is sleep all the time now.
And to be honest too,
I want to get into that, man. I'm so eager.
We grew up pre-internet, bro, and so like it was hard to find information until.
But it's right there.
On. Now it's right here, and Bible Hub is great. You can see different translations. Yeah, there's a lot of resources I can point you to, and it's really, to me, it just makes it all more fascinating. Like I don't It's like I definitely don't. That's why I can't say I know anything about it. Like I tell Redding, I'm like, I don't know what any of this means. I do keep reading it. Again, like because
that's
my
natural.
mom passed, so I got a 24-hour gym membership, and I've just been like sneaking.
Yeah, man.
When people fall asleep, I just go to the gym and work out. So I've been doing like 2-a-days for like 3 or 4 hours at a time. Yeah. Like almost tore my bicep. I have to go see a doctor. But
and you got to take it easy, man.
No, it's me, man. You know me. I'm fine.
I know. That's why I'm saying that, dummy.
I know.
Like,
I know. It's no. I
push ourselves more. I mean, I think.
Yeah, no. I spend. It's no. Everything's. I love my boys so much. I spend a lot of time focused on them or their future. And life is great. I'm at the point right now where I can do stuff. It's great.
Yeah,
but I've been listening to the Bible. That's what I've been saying. So because of the schedule, it's like, dude, I finished the New Testament a couple times in the last, like 2 times in the last week. And it's like, there is so much in there, and I don't know if I'm at the spot where I can just take the good. There's like Kevin can, the author guy Whitmore, he, and leave the bad because so much of our trauma and so much of our conditioning growing up doesn't allow that. I'm trying to. Psychedelics did seem to kind of help. But like I
will say I appreciate the efforts because I do know other people. I won't mention names, but I do know other people that have very similar experiences to yours. Maybe not to that extreme, like homeschool and then dealing what you've dealt with, but who have had Christian traumatic experiences in their youth.
Everyone.
And they feel like they can't talk about it at all. Like they just hide that, or they literally trap that down and push it aside. And it sucks because it's like, this is no different, and we're almost taught that it is, but it's no different than any other trauma that anyone else can experience. You're like,
it's way deeper.
Okay.
No, it's like emotional cheating.
Yeah,
it's like it's even worse.
You can come forward with this stuff. You can talk about this. The people are there. People want to hear you.
Well, someone got in between all of us and God, and that's wrong. That's in fact, those people will be, according to the Bible, it's better if the millstone was tied around their head and thrown into the deepest ocean.
Yeah.
So like, and with the new open world, why can't we adopt all the new best theories on everything and all the smartest people's ideas? Why should our brains and hearts and spirituality and our mind be separated? Like, why should someone not be able to believe in science and that possibly this thing? I think God's a horrible name for it. I doubt it has a sex.
It's interesting how weird. Well, it's also interesting how the scripture points out that the one, and in quotes, the one true God, and how it puts you in a position like just the thought of a possibility of another God you're gonna be killed,
there's
or struck down by lightning. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's a weird theory to really think about.
You need to come next time you guys come down here. There's this really cool. It's called the Getty Villa. That's right. It's not
May
that
actually
far.
be in a couple weeks, by the way.
Cool. Yeah.
I
There's
got
a
to come
restaurant?
down for LA, yeah, for business stuff, and
I'll fucking
we
get
got to
you
connect. Yeah.
blazed.
I will have a vehicle,
It's
because
great because I
I'm
will
driving
have a
it.
new shipment of Magic Medicine Marijuana, our sponsor. Anyway, this fucking rich dude has this house that he made. It's like he collected every Roman artifact ever,
Yeah.
and his house looks like a Roman villa overlooking the ocean. And it's
Nice.
this huge museum. You walk around and you see like how old some of this shit is and how people were living. And it's
Yeah.
like, so this fucking insanely, incredibly crafted water jar that was in someone's beautiful garden house was made just a little bit before the Old Testament. So people were like living good, and like there was like some cool shit going on, and then there was these desert dwellers who believed in this war god, and he was one amongst a pantheon. And that was the weirdest part about this god, is he's the only god.
Is the separation of quality, or is it because of the fact of the time era that it's been stamped?
To be honest,
this is around that time.
I'm just stoned enough to say maybe it's true, and maybe that's why the idea of one God is maybe there is one single thing in the universe. We don't fucking know what that is.
Yeah.
All of this we don't know. We should be able to
Agnostic.
talk about it. Yeah, fucking yeah.
Because I'm open to the idea, and I think that's what's great about that.
I don't know shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's you can fill a library with stuff I don't know. I love the idea that there could be, or I believe that there could be something out there that is this all powerful knowing thing. It's hard to say that I do believe there is this thing, and it's what Christians are telling me it is, because it's just there's so much I find wrong, or so much I have problems with, because if this is an issue, it should be talked about, and then you should be not just proving me wrong because you think you're better, or you say this, the Bible says this, so you're wrong now. It's like, well, okay, if this is so powerful, it should be beyond just the book. And like, we need to see this. We need to not only feel it, but like we need to know it and act upon it. I need to see your actually preached or being,
and see them produce some goddamn fruit, right? If you're just talking about love all the time and trying to help community, but then you're fucking caught banging one of these girls.
Now, I also
or like fucking cheating on your wife. Did you see Justin Bieber's ripped pastor? I feel super bad.
Did you watch that documentary? And if you haven't,
no, I don't. But just like total again, like you said, power corrupts, man. And I've met a lot of good people like that. It's like, love is really powerful, and people start wielding it like a weapon, like you said, and drawing absolutes and thinking they know the path. And if there is an imbalance in your life, it'll get so exaggerated at those high levels.
Absolutely. And I will say the reasons why I consider myself a very open agnostic is from what I have witnessed and seen with my own eyes. Like I still to this day believe I witnessed a demon possession.
What?
Yeah, this was quick story. I mean, this is
I'm loading my bowl, bitch.
All right, here you go. You being of the background that you come from, you know about Cornerstone. For those that don't know, Cornerstone Fest was past tense, a festival that happened in the Midwest in Illinois.
I have not thought about this.
Yeah, right.
I've never. This is like goddamn Veggie Tales territory.
Yeah. Well, it was an annual festival in the Midwest that happened all the time, and there were, at least the last few times I was a part of it, there were 3 different Cornerstone festivals that was happening. One in Florida, one in Indiana, and one in Illinois. And the one I was at was the main one in Illinois. This was 2004 or 5. I want to say 4. But anyway, there was this really intense hardcore band called Norma Jean.
I loved it.
And, yeah, right. Really great dudes. They're more of, at the time anyway, this is when their first couple records were coming out.
Do you know what's hilarious?
Lots of
Sorry,
things.
I just stole one of Zach Davidson's stories. I didn't have dinner with him. Zach did. They used to hang around Zach. That's hilarious.
Yeah, though
Oops.
that band at that time was way more trudging and dark, and they were more about theatrical performance than there were their music, because their music was really drowning and
Well,
slow.
I liked it back then.
No, yeah, it had a style, and it definitely is what put them on the map. So anyway, the only reason I bring this up is because at Cornerstone Fest, there's three main stages, one huge like performance stage, and there was like two tent stages that can hold like 1,000 people in each tent or whatever. And it's an outdoor festival. At this time, there's a lot of Christian bands because it's a Christian fronted festival show, and the main headliners for all the smaller tents or whatever were going it late in the night, and Norma Jean's playing, and their show, they're like revolving around a lot of visuals. They have like a projector screen that has like all this crazy shit that goes on. It's super dark and awesome.
Okay.
And their lights correspond with a lot of that. They have a lighting guy that definitely where they literally cut out all the lights, like pitch black, and then bring it back on with music and stuff.
Great for epilepsy.
So you're right. So at this time, the band I was playing with, we played and we were just wandering around, and I remember watching their set from the outside of the tent, just kind of where I could see it. They were doing their lights off, light on thing, and what happened was there was this big buildup. The lights cut out, everything stops, and all I hear was this blood curdling yell, like not through a microphone, just out in the open, like crazy. And I'm like, wow, that was cool. Like, sounded like some demonic shit going on over there. And then the band kicks back in, they start playing, and the song just falls apart. Like, they just slowly stop. And then the lead singer gets on the mic. I'm pretty sure it was the lead singer. And he says, all right, everybody needs to clear out. This person needs help. And there's more yelling, and I'm hearing it, and the lights come on, and people are just kind of confused and spreading out. Within, like, I don't know, what felt like 15, 20 minutes of hearing this yelling and craziness go on, an ambulance pulls up. And they have those on call in case, because it's in the middle of nowhere in Illinois. And, like most outdoor festivals go in the Midwest, it's in the summer, it's hot, so they have a lot of people on staff for this. And so the ambulance is coming up. At the same time, there's a lot of people and other bands and stuff that were witnessing what was going on, and I kind of catch a glimpse of it. There's just this young girl, screaming and yelling, like ready to fight people, running around. Everyone's freaking out, and I remember people just pacing back and forth, be like crying and really scared. And so the girl gets subdued. I don't know what happens from that point, because the crowd kind of comes in, and from that moment when they take her away, everybody's talking about, like, this girl was possessed, all this stuff. And it became really heavy. Like, you can feel it in the air. It got really heavy out of nowhere. And I kept overhearing people talking about, like, dude, all I saw was black in her eyes. And I can't say that I witnessed anything directly, but I mean, I was present to hear.
She was like up, right? She was running around.
Both,
on the
up
ground.
and down, up, down. It was weird. And I didn't catch, I couldn't even describe what she looked like or anything, like, because it was, again, I'm like on the outside shot, like seeing through people. But hearing from what everyone else was saying, I'm just like, okay, that's interesting. And I know what I heard, and it definitely sent shivers down my spine from that. So it was kind of an interesting thing. So from a lot of that experience through everyone else, because we were all staying in this like nearby, it was like a dorm room space that was housing a lot of these bands and stuff. Everybody was talking about it, and we were just like,
well, it doesn't sound like epilepsy, but it does sound like,
no, there was too much talking and yelling happening, too many vocal things. That's why we were like, none of us in all at that point, because at the time we were all believers in faith-minded people. We were all immediately assuming this was, something dark and mysterious and demon possession wise.
Primed for that.
Yeah. Looking back on it, I can't help but wonder. I'm like, I couldn't really like put that in any other way because of like what was happening. So that's why I was like, oh, look, it could be a myriad of things. Again, all I know is this, is that it definitely puts me on the fence where I'm like, all right, there might be something there because
I can respect that.
spiritually, maybe even ghostly things like that. I can't even say
I've tried ghosts.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe in that. I've tried a lot. I've gone to the most haunted places in America and sat by myself.
I've been to a few myself. I can't
But here's the thing. I will say this. We go back to demonic possession.
Yeah.
Because I have a friend, very close one. I won't out, but grew up similar to me. But at a young age, he was raped by the pastor of his church. It was a female. He was like 13. And he's battled with heroin now for like maybe 18 years straight.
Damn.
I mean, I lost touch with a long time ago, but like, he just kind of kept trekking on. And, it literally is something he never got past. And like, he was very close friends, so I've seen him in many dark times, many good times, but like, it definitely seems like a demonic possession. Like, he's left his notebooks at my house a couple times, and I normally wouldn't, but I thought he was gone, so I read them. And it's like, dude, it's like, I think that more than anything. Like, I don't even know if I blame the heroin, right? I blame like the trauma that was put into this young dude's life.
You don't think these people ever want to like reach out for the like a way out unless there's a reason putting them into that position to find a way out,
For the most part, I'm pretty sure he's only told one other person. Yeah, because you would never it's built into those frameworks. You have to respect who got us put, not just your parents, obviously it's one of the commandments, but like whoever he put ahead of you, you're supposed to work with, I mean, that's another thing too. The New Testament's like, even if you're a slave, you're just supposed to be a slave still. Like you're supposed to work for your owner. Like, I know
it's so scary because it's the idea of power that I've had this conversation with other people too, where it's like, look, the only thing more valuable than money is power. And obviously money comes with that, but there's a lot of people who don't have a speaker box and they have lots of money and they can still make things happen. But when you have a voice and people follow that voice, it's powerful. Like I was saying, like if you're a pastor on top of the stage and everyone's looking at you,
that power's been that power's in you now. No. Look at us. I'm literally in my underwear this entire time.
Nice.
Yeah, like the whole time I've been. I got a new tattoo.
Nice. Very nice.
The whole time. So like, no, and that's why they're all kicking and screaming. And unfortunately, too, you start seeing even a deeper thing. It's kind of like remember the portrait of Dorian Gray. Yeah. As we age, these power structures, some of the things that we have experienced, we kind of called out on this show, like abuse of power by pastors, sexual, drugs, whatever it might be. That shit comes out.
Yeah.
That shit if you do, that's one thing I believe. I've done some bad shit. It comes out. Okay. Yeah. Everyone finds out.
And that's even worse, man. Like I thought this was supposed to be a welcoming place where you can, you can fuck up and then people will be okay. It's okay. We still love you. That was the one thing like with someone like Gio, like he actually squashed arguments that he witnessed between me and other people. And he was just like it got heated. And then all of a sudden he just chimes in and goes, hey man, all I know is we're just supposed to love each other. And we went, oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
That's exactly right. And that's like the most perfect place to end this right there. Yeah. That's exactly. Well, that's what we're trying to bring back. And it comes through open discourse. And right or wrong, we just let all the best ideas surface and float up,
It should be talked about. It should definitely be challenged, but it should be respected on either side, so that we can at least say,
like you said, that shit's earned over time.
Yeah, agreed. But I think everyone needs to be needs to be vocal about stuff and talk more. It's hard, man. And if anyone out there, if you're struggling, dude, there's people out there that want to hear it, and want to talk and want to help. And it's like,
call Ben. Why don't you give me your number?
My number right here.
You're going to get a lot of people from Germany.
I know a lot of people struggle from this stuff, and it is cathartic to talk about, but it's also nice to know other people feel the same way, and struggle.
Yeah, and that's at least the episode named itself. So dealing with religious trauma. Here we go. So, but I gotta go. I gotta run to the bathroom.
Me too.
Perfect. I love you, brother. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a text in a couple of days. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Love you.